Okay, I went ahead and assigned graphing absolute value equations. Graph each absolute value equation over the interval -5, 5. Find the domain and the range and the intercepts of the function. Find the max and minimum over the interval. So I'm going to go ahead and do 23. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to make a table. And you know that the interval is from -5, -4, -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to move it up 5. What you want to do is go to your table and you're going to go ahead and type in, I'm doing number 23, so y equals, go to math, number, absolute value of x, okay, plus 0.05, and I'm interested in the table, so I go to second graph. There is a table, and I'm going to start at -5. So you notice I get 5.05. At -4, I get 4.05. At -3, when x is -3, I get 3.05. And I'm going to go ahead and just write it. -2 is 2.05. -1 is 1.05. 0 is 0.05. This is 1.05, 2.05, 3.05, 4.05, and 5.05. They're asking what is the domain. So the domain is actually, the domain is from -5 to 5. They gave you the domain. Okay, the range we probably want to see our graph. And so you look at the range, it's going to, the lowest y value is 0.05 and it goes to infinity. Y is greater than or equal to 0.05. It's asking for the intercepts. Well, there's only the y-intercept, which is 0.05. That's the y-intercept. The max and the minimum. The minimum is actually 0.05 also, 0.5. So this is the x-intercept. No, I apologize. That is not the x-intercept. That is the y-intercept. That's the y-intercept, and it's also your minimum point. So your domain is from -5 to 5, all the numbers between -5 and 5. Your range, the lowest y value is 0.05, and it goes to infinity. And I wrote here y is greater than or equal to 0.05. The symmetry, the axis of symmetry is x equals 0. So if I graph y equals 0, no, I can't graph x equals 0, but it would be a vertical line. It would be a vertical line, okay? The next equation I'm gonna go ahead and do is 24. So I have y equals the absolute value. I'm gonna say x minus 1, and then you have a minus, and then I'm gonna erase this. You have -3. I'm gonna go ahead and the next thing I'm gonna look at my table. And I'm going to start with -5. So let's go ahead and do our table here. So our table is, and this is number 24. 24. We have x and we have y. So when x is -5, we have 3. When x is -4, we have the y value is 2. And then you're going to go ahead and use your table I know some of you are using decimals. I'm going to use the TI-84 that's here on the screen, just so I can make sure I can explain this correctly. We have -3, 1. We have -2, 0. -1, -1. 0, 0, -2. And I'm going to go ahead and move it down. So I have 0, -2, I have 1, -3. This is what I had left off on this problem. We notice that the domain is from -5 to 5. The range is from 0 to 3. Now I'm going to explain why. Since we have limited our domain, consequently our range values are also limited. Okay, in other words, we're not using all the y values and we're not using all the real numbers. So that's how I got the range from 0 to the highest point, which is 3. Okay, and if you want to know what's the maximum point, -5, -3 is going to be the maximum point. And then, of course, the minimum point is going to be 1, 1, -3. By the way, that is also the vertex. So that's the minimum. And that's also the vertex. I'm going to go ahead and do one more problem, so just to make sure that you understand how to do it. And of course, in class number 25, I'm going to make the correction in class. So I'm not going to be able to make it on the video, but I'll make it in class. So I mean 23. I think it was 23. So I'm going to go ahead and work on 25. So let's go ahead and do 25. Go ahead and start graphing it. So I already placed the graph or the equation into the calculator. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to look at the table. And you notice there's decimals. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to -5. And I'm going to go ahead and create my table, because I do want all of you to create your table. And so we have X and we have Y. Remember, our domain is from -5, -4, -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? It's all the numbers between -5 and 5. And remember, as my input is -5, your output is -0.65. My input is -4. My output is -0.7. So I'm going to go ahead and write that. I'm not going to go ahead and repeat that. So make sure that you are creating your table, okay? And I apologize for the messy handwriting. I am dealing with decimals here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and scroll down. Okay, so I'm scrolling down. So we have 2 is -1. 3 is -0.95. And then 4 is -0.9. And then 5 is -0.85. It appears, of course, we're going to go ahead and write the domain. So the domain is from -5 to 5. That's the interval that we're working with. All the real numbers between -5 and -5 and 4. I'm going to look at my graph so I can just see the lowest point. It's kind of strange here. I have 0.05. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in. So I'm not able to look at the graph, but I'm going to see what's happening here with my numbers. I have -0.65. I know That's going to be my max value. My max value is going to be -5, -0.65. The range, the lowest y value, it appears to be -1, I think. Here was my domain, this is my range, the lowest is -1. The highest y value, it appears to be -0.65. Okay, so our max and our minimum point will be also the vertex. The vertex it should be 2, -1. Yeah, it's 2, -1. How do I know it's 2, -1? Because you see these numbers, we have 0.65, 0.70, 0.75, 0.85. They're all negative. I mean, -0.95. You see how they're all approaching -1, and then they start going in the opposite direction. So I know that is my lowest point just by looking at the numbers. -0.65, -0.7, -0.75. You notice they're getting they're approaching -1, and then they reverse. So there's the vertex. We know that the axis of symmetry is 2. Sometimes I say AOS, I sometimes say x = 2. So our domain is from -5 to 5. Our range is from -1 to -0.65. And I'm going to see if I can fix my table. So I'm going to go to my table set or format. Let me see, window. I think I should say window. I know that my lowest y value is -1, so I'll say -1.5. My highest, I'm going to say 0, and I'm going to go ahead and count by 0.25. Let's see if that does anything. If we can see the graph, so. Okay, quit. Window. Wyman. Yeah, I did it reverse. So Wyman, -1.5. Our max, I'm going to say, is 0. And let's see if it does it. Yeah. And I think I have to change my x value. I want to say, yeah, because it's going to be -6 to 6. And maybe I should make this into 0.05. Let's see if that makes a difference. Yeah, there's our graph. Okay. If you have any questions, please see me in tutoring. Thank you.